best slot before Farid Zakaria, after Peter and Martha. So, and I've also been given permission to talk as long as I want. So, you guys are at, you have to face it. So, let me just take you through what comes to your mind when you think of India. I've given you the answer, but this is not the answer. What comes to mind when you think of India? Lots of people, color, poverty. Bollywood. Okay. 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 So we have lots of things. But well, we don't deal with any of that. We are dealing with poverty and aspiration. So, but that's the problem. There are multiple Indias. So at one end you have the extremely wealthy, everybody's educated, aspiration is there. Part of us are settled down here, migrants, etc., etc., etc. But there is a large number who want to move up, and there's a large which is stuck in poverty. And I think that's the problem that we're trying to solve. I'll just, I can't be interesting, so let me give you statistics. So, these are the very, very dismal statistics that we have. Education, primary education, when I started working in 1990s, there weren't enough schools. People didn't go to schools. But now children go to schools. I don't see any place where they say that primary education is not available. Quality is not available. But access has been solved. But if quality is not available and you don't know what your next step is, people drop out. So they drop out at 5th grade, they drop out at 10th grade, and then they join higher education, which really doesn't lead them anywhere. You have very little unemployment in India. You have a very, very, very severe underemployment. That means that the work that one person can do, 3 people will do. In some of the sectors, 7 people do the work of 1 people, which means that the salaries will be low, the wage will be low, and that's the severe problem that we have. And, I often think to myself, why vocational training? So, unlike a lot of people that I see in Bangalore, we have startups, we have all the tech companies, we have the unicorns, so everybody is earning $1 million, 10 million, they've made $1 billion valuation, all of that. Why vocational education? Because a lot of people are coming to the cities, they want to work, they want to earn something, but there is absolutely no concept of where will you go and learn. Where are you going to learn how to be a bar bender? Who wants to learn how to be a leather stitcher? Who wants to learn how to, we all wear shoes, we all go in cars, but how does the rubber company work? This is all contract workforce. The labor laws in India do not allow you to take in full. When I say do not, is the companies will not want to have them as full-time workers, and therefore they're contract workers, so they're nobody's workers. So the investment in their education doesn't happen. So if a building has to be constructed, you will not employ a mason, you will not employ a bar bender. But, construction of a building is a tough job. You have to learn the skills. But you don't go to class to learn, your educational level is poor, you're using scientific concepts, there's something significantly wrong. So what we thought we should do is to take vocational education to the doorstep. This is an established model in education. In India, we took adult literacy to the doorstep, and we wanted to do the same with vocational education. I think that's really what we attempt to do. This is the good news, so I'll sort of, these are, the kind of impact we've made. But while we are getting here, we've had a lot of problems. So I just want to spend a minute on telling you, we scaled too fast. And I think Ajit is somewhere here, and he's even sick today, because he's so worried about what's happening to us. But we scaled between 2011 and 2015 from impacting 15,000 people to 120,000 people. From, I keep forgetting the dollar equivalent, 30 lakhs to 35 crores. So we scaled way too fast. So what does it tell us? There was market. There was no problem. Wherever we went, they said, wow, you guys know how to teach. Come and teach. Nobody said don't come. They said come and teach. But the problem that was there was, were we making enough money on each student that we were teaching? The answer is no. In many cases, we weren't. So we have to recalibrate ourselves to say, yes, we need to teach because we're a billion population. We have, in 2022, they say we will have practically a third of them which is in the workforce. So there's a huge number of people to teach. I also want to sort of spend time on yesterday what we were discussing. Government is keen and it's very seductive. Government will tell you, come and tell us how to do this. You've done it in the private sector, come and tell us. And we fell prey. We said, yes, we know how to do it. We will tell you. They didn't pay us on time. We got into a problem. And that's our story at the moment as far as impact is concerned. But where I'm coming from is, education is something that state funds. Private schools have come in, but that's to a smaller group that the private school education can cater to. So we are firmly in the territory of where the state needs to fund, but we're trying to make it work because the state has not delivered. So there has to be other ways that we have delivery. Either you need to improve your workforce by investing in your workforce, but these are not your workforce. They're outside your, they would be in your supply chain, they would be elsewhere, but who is going to invest in them is the question that is there. This is a well-known fact, but I thought we should just spend time. I come from a classic middle-class background. Never, classic Indian middle class means that you will do your high school, go to college, go right up to graduate studies and hopefully PhD, then go in a safe job which will pay you well, and I did that. So that was my journey. So that's higher productivity, longer career, I joined the UN, pensionable job, higher income, safe. But, and I was trying to solve the problem of vocational education in the UN. So that means I had the South Asia, which is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, where we were trying to solve this. US Department of Labor has had a $100 million project which we were implementing, trying to change it, and something was going terribly wrong. 7 years I was working there, and I found that all I was doing is having enormous number of meetings across countries, day in, day out, writing policy papers, etc., but couldn't make a change. I didn't think we were making significant change. So stepped out of ILO, and we started LabourNet. So what we were trying to look at LabourNet is, can we change this graph? For the poor, can we have continuous vocational education? We know that it can't move from here to there, but can there be times when they can keep coming back and learning? Because unlike higher education, vocational education is about changing technology. Construction technology changes all the time. Rubber technology changes, manufacturing changes. If you're a beautician, I'm the wrong person to talk about it. Gray, fat, don't use makeup, etc. But at the same time, its beautician is a very, I realize now that we run so many beauty training programs, is one of the most popular, one of the most difficult ones that are there to run. So which means you have to keep upgrading yourself. Where will you go for upgrading yourself? And I think that's the question that we have. So we have to change this early dropout to longer period of study, and at each point of time there needs to be exits so that where is higher, from low productivity we move to higher productivity. I think one of the things that we did well was understand who are the people that we are working with. They are semi-literate. Even where they have 10th grade or 12th grade, their learning levels were very low. Their learning levels are those of a 7, 8-year-old, sometimes 10-year-old, which means your analytical capacity, your mathematical capacity is low. Just imagine your building is being built, which means the person is bending bar. It's a scientific concept as to how you will bend bar. They do not know what alloys are, they don't need to know the theoretical, but they need to understand the concepts. So safety is a major issue, wastage is a major issue. And in India, cement, steel costs money. Rubber, we all go by cars, we all wear what we call chappals, your footwear, cycle tires. All of this is produced in dangerous conditions. So these are where you need to really teach. And how do you teach someone who's not used to sitting in classrooms? I don't think there's enough investment which has gone into understanding how do you teach. And I think that's something that we did well. Probably will now look at working more closely on that, but in limited sectors and not grow as much. So I just sort of wanted to tell you, this is the typical construction worker. I'm not showing someone who's, he's very happy with himself. He will work 4 days a week. He will drink 2 days a week. He will not, if you tell him, please come to a classroom, you learn, I'll improve your productivity, I'll improve your income. He's like, I'm happy where I am. The days I work, I earn. The days I don't work, I don't earn. Don't trouble me. So you have to take education to them, change their behavior, because his drinking can cause an accident. He could die. His family could be impacted. There are safety hazards which are there. So you have to change the way they work. In her case too, I sort of purposely kept the, took a picture in which her mask is down. This has great impact. She's a leather, she actually does the leather hide, so that this is when the tanning has just happened. So that means it actually, emanates a lot of, let's say, toxic substance which shouldn't be there. But she just feels hot. And I've seen in rubber, they'll just take off their shoes, and it's difficult, in hot climate, you're in a hot, it's already 40 degrees outside, in the company it's 52, and you have to work. So those are the things you have to teach right from the beginning. At one end you have that. At the other end, we have training centers in which we cater largely, as I said beauty, to women. These are people who are what we call in India lower middle class. So they would be auto rickshaw drivers' wives, they would be everything, but everybody loves a beauty class. I've never seen a single beauty class, and it really makes me happy. They come there, they talk, they'll bitch about their husbands, mother-in-law, difficulties in life, etc. But why do they do it? They do not have any other space. And once they do this, they are not looking to, pardon me, L'Oreal is our, is my, in Hindi we call it Annadata, they feed me. So they are revenue generators, but they don't want to join L'Oreal or Lakme. They want to all work on their own, at their own time and pace. The reason is they have children to take care of. They have families to take care of. Their husbands work all day or would have migrated out. So which means they want to earn about 70,000 rupees in per annum to have the freedom to decide what to do with that money. Should I go to spend it on education? Should I spend it on health? Should I spend it on myself? So this is one such woman. She's not technically poor, but she's got financial independence, and which is why we started centers with these, because it is so critical to look at both. We were dealing with a largely male population in construction, rubber, and then we decided, let's look at what does the other side look like, and that's how we sort of picked on something which was, which they wanted to do. And I think this is what I've been struggling with. Scale, sustainability, does it go hand in hand? How difficult is it? And I think the last 6 months has been a real awakening and a lesson for me. Initially when things were not going well, when I'm saying well, what really happened? We grew, as I said, we had 1,000 people, our revenues were high, there was no problem with business, cash wasn't there in the bank. But we still wanted to grow, and many people said, come, state said, come and help us, a company said. I think we had to really rethink saying, is that what you should do? I mean, nobody is going to remember a forgotten hero, right? I mean, what's the point of LaborNet dying tomorrow if I cannot establish the model? What microfinance has done is actually do scale and sustainability. I think that's what we're attempting to do. I think with scale and sustainability comes policy influence. I think it will change the way in which government looks at implementation of programs, corporates look at implementation of programs. But it is for us to handle both together. I don't have the answer to it because I'm not there now. But I think what I'm looking for from this audience is that takeaway, to understand how do we reach there. And you know, possibly because Acumen is also our investor, they have the parental control of saying when money will come and when money will not. But I think that is so important at this stage for many of the companies that are in our position. I just want to sort of spend time on you know, the road we see is, you know, I said this is the mantra that we need to follow. This is what we didn't do too well, I think. So that's the, in a sense, you know, I was thinking to myself, what are the 10 things that I need to keep in mind if we have to change the way in which we look at livelihood enablement? For me, livelihood enablement is the same as LaborNet, which is not really true. It doesn't. There are multiple ways, and but I think we can be a game changer. And I think we need to be a game changer, let me put it that way. But there are complexities, and we need to understand those complexities if we are going to really, really make significant change. So, you know, this is what we want to get to. So you can imagine we are doing 120,000 per annum. We need to move this to 5 million per annum. So that's a tall order. We've decided to take a step back at this point of time, do 120 for the next 2 to 3 years, and then scale further, because the processes are important for other people to copy. So I think that's where we are. So thank you so much.